Okay, hello everyone. I'm DJ and welcome to my CISSP Masterclass. I created this course because I've seen how intimidating the CISSP can feel and I want to help change that. My mission is to make cybersecurity human, relatable, and achievable for anyone working toward this milestone. Whether you're an analyst, engineer, or leader preparing for the exam, we'll break down each domain using real-world examples ranging from your home Wi-Fi to global cyber operations. Think of this course as more than exam prep. It's about empowering you to protect people, systems, and ideas that matter. Let's make CISSP make sense and learn to think like a manager and risk advisor, not a technician. Let's get started. Okay, and a quick disclaimer about the course. Okay, as many of you already know, the CISSP has 8 different domains. Each domain represents a key area in which you must demonstrate competence and critical thinking. Together, they form a common body of knowledge for cybersecurity professionals. Okay, so just a tad bit about myself. My mission with this course is simple: to help you pass the CISSP and to make cybersecurity something that feels clear, relatable, and empowering. I've spent 20 years in government and more than a decade working in various IT leadership, cybersecurity, and data management roles, leading teams, building solutions, and mentoring people from all walks of life. I hold a master's in IT with a focus in cybersecurity, a grad cert in cloud computing, and certifications including CISSP, PMP, and various CompTIA certs. But this course is about more than credentials. It's about helping you understand the why behind every concept so you can apply what you learn, think like a leader, and navigate the world of cybersecurity. With all that out of the way, let's get started with Domain 1. If you're preparing for the CISSP, a lot of what we'll cover here will probably feel like a refresher, but it's a good one. Let's start with Domain 1, Security and Risk Management. To set the stage, imagine your home, your family, or even your phone as your personal company. How would you manage its cybersecurity? In 1.1, we'll learn everything in this field ultimately comes down to 3 principles: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Think of it this way: locking your front door keeps your information private. Checking your bank statement ensures accuracy. And keeping a spare key guarantees access when you need it. Those 3 ideas, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, are the foundation of every security decision you'll ever make. Now that we've defined the foundation, let's explore how leadership and governance make these principles real inside an organization. Security governance is where policy meets purpose. It's how leaders align protection with business goals. Imagine your family's house rules. Parents set expectations, assign chores, and enforce safety standards. That's what executives do through governance frameworks and accountability. But rules alone aren't enough. They must also satisfy outside requirements, which brings us to compliance. Compliance is about playing by the laws and regulations that keep organizations ethical and trusted. Whether it's GDPR, HIPAA, or PCI DSS, these standards protect both people and data. It's like paying your taxes, renewing your car insurance, and wearing a seatbelt. Not optional, but essential for safety and accountability. To stay compliant, we follow structured blueprints, frameworks, and standards that keep everyone speaking the same security language. Frameworks like NIST, ISO 27001, and COBIT act as recipes for building consistent, resilient security programs. Standards set the ingredients, best practices show how to mix them correctly. Follow the recipe, you get repeatable success every time. Now, even with the best recipe, life in itself brings risk. So let's talk about how we identify and handle it. Risk management is about seeing storms before they hit. You identify what could go wrong, assess how bad it could be, and decide how to respond. Check the weather before driving, slow down, reschedule, or accept the chance of rain. Those are your mitigation, avoidance, and acceptance strategies in action. Once you understand risk, the next step is predicting how and where attacks could happen. That's threat modeling. Threat modeling is proactive. You find the weak spots before attackers do. Vulnerability management is reactive. You patch the holes you already know about, locking your windows before vacation and later installing better locks after a break in. That's the same mindset. But technology isn't the only defense. People are your first line of security. Tools fail if people don't know how to use them safely. Awareness and training turn every employee into a security sensor. Similar to teaching your kids not to talk to strangers online, security awareness changes behavior. And within that team of people, everyone has a role to play. Let's break down who does what. Every secure environment depends on clear responsibilities. The security administrator locks the digital doors. The risk officer checks for hazards. And the CISO manages the overall mission. It's just like a family. Each person has a job that keeps the home safe. Those responsibilities only work when they're written down and enforced through strong documentation. Policies set the direction, procedures show how to follow them, and guidelines offer flexibility when judgment is needed. Think of a dress code policy, the clock in procedure, and the casual Friday guideline. Same structure, different tone. Policies are great in theory, but what happens when disaster strikes? That's where continuity and recovery planning step in. Business continuity keeps the mission alive. Disaster recovery brings it back to life after a hit. Having a generator when the power goes out or a savings fund for emergencies. That's your personal BCP and DRP. Continuity plans protect operations. Recovery plans restore systems. But resilience also depends on trustworthy people. So let's look at personnel security. It sounds cliche, but people are the heart of every security program, and trust is the gatekeeper. Before hiring or granting access, organizations perform background checks to verify reliability and integrity. Just like checking references before you hire a babysitter, it's not about suspicion, it's about safety. And once we hire the right people, we must hold ourselves to the highest professional standard, ethics. The ISC Squared Code of Ethics reminds us that cybersecurity is ultimately about protecting society. Acting honorably builds trust. For example, returning a lost wallet instead of keeping the cash. CISPs are defenders of integrity, even when no one is watching. And ethics doesn't end with good behavior. It continues through documentation and continuous improvement. As many of you know, security isn't a one-time project. It's a living cycle of documenting, reviewing, and improving. Recording policies, tracking incidents, and refining processes keep organizations sharp and accountable. Just like maintaining your car's logbook ensures reliability, good documentation drives continuous improvement. Now that you've mastered the fundamentals of Domain 1, let's test your CISSP mindset. Before we jump into the quiz, here are a few things to keep in mind. CISSP questions aren't designed to test how many facts you can memorize. They test how you think. You'll often see multiple answers that look correct from a technical point of view, but your goal is to choose the best next step or the option that reflects sound, risk-based judgment. Always approach each question from a risk advisor and managerial perspective. Ask yourself, which choice best supports business objectives while minimizing risk? That's the mindset the exam is built around, and it's what separates someone who knows cybersecurity from someone who can lead it. Let's get started. Question 1. Which best reflects the principle of integrity in the CIA Triad? A. Encrypting sensitive client data before transmission. B. Verifying a bank statement hasn't been altered. C. Storing redundant backups across regions. D. Restricting access to financial records. The correct answer is B. Verifying a bank statement hasn't been altered. Encryption protects confidentiality. Redundancy ensures availability. Access control also serves confidentiality. Integrity focuses on accuracy and trustworthiness, verifying the data hasn't been changed without authorization. Checking a statement's correctness mirrors hashing or validation in cybersecurity. Question 2. A CISO prioritizes limited budget toward multi-factor authentication rather than more staff awareness posters. What concept is being applied? A. Risk acceptance. B. Due diligence. C. Risk avoidance. D. Defense in depth. The correct answer is B. Due diligence. The CISO is analyzing risk and investing where it provides tangible, defensible reduction of risk. Due diligence means taking reasonable, informed actions to mitigate risk consistent with best practices and proportional to the threat. Question 3. Your company enforces an annual compliance review even when nothing has changed in the environment. This action primarily demonstrates A. Due care. B. Risk transference. C. Governance. D. Accountability. The correct answer is A. Due care. Due care equals ongoing maintenance of security once controls are in place. This is continual oversight. Question 4. You decide to cancel a project after identifying high legal exposure and no compensating control options. What kind of risk response is this? A. Transference. B. Avoidance. C. Mitigation. D. Acceptance. The correct answer is B. Avoidance. Avoidance is eliminating the activity altogether to remove exposure. Stopping the project removes the threat vector instead of treating or transferring it. Question 5. A company outsources data storage to a third-party cloud provider with strong contractual SLAs and cyber insurance. What two risk responses are being used? A. Mitigation and acceptance. B. Avoidance and transference. C. Transference and mitigation. D. Mitigation and avoidance. The correct answer is C. Transference and mitigation. Insurance transfers financial risk, while contractual security requirements mitigate technical and operational risk. True CISSP logic looks for multiple layered responses rather than a single label. Question 6. During a tabletop exercise, the CIO emphasizes keeping payroll running even if the data center burns down. Which priority is this most aligned with? A. Disaster recovery. B. Business continuity. C. Risk avoidance. D. System resiliency. So this one was a bit tricky. The correct answer is B. Business continuity. Business continuity ensures mission-critical operations like payroll continue despite disruption. Disaster recovery focuses on restoring infrastructure after the fact. CISSP likes to test this distinction constantly. Please, please, please prepare yourself. Question 7. An employee intentionally modifies a configuration to bypass access controls, but claims it was to improve efficiency. What two principles are violated? A. Accountability and least privilege. B. Integrity and availability. C. Confidentiality and awareness. D. Due diligence and governance. The correct answer is A. Accountability and least privilege. By bypassing formal access and making unauthorized changes, the employee undermines accountability and least privilege. Intent does not excuse violation. CISSP ethics stress responsible authorization. Question 8. A manager argues that security awareness training isn't needed because the organization uses top-tier firewalls and EDR tools. As a CISP, your best response is to explain that A. Technical controls always outperform human controls. B. Human behavior is often the weakest link. C. Awareness programs only improve compliance. D. Firewalls eliminate the need for human factors. The correct answer is B. Human behavior is often the weakest link. The exam expects recognition that people are a key component to defense in depth. Firewalls mitigate external threats, but phishing and social engineering bypass technical layers. CISP thinking connects human controls to risk reduction. Question 9. Which statement best describes the relationship between policy, standards, and guidelines? A. Policies define the how, standards the why, guidelines the what. B. Policies define the what, standards the how, guidelines the should. C. Standards and guidelines are mandatory, but policies are optional. D. Guidelines establish compliance requirements. The correct answer is B. Policies define the what, standards the how, guidelines the should. CISP candidates must differentiate governance hierarchy. Policy, high-level direction, what must be done. Standard, mandatory requirement, how to meet policy. Guideline, recommended approach, should but not mandatory. Question 10. After a ransomware attack, your team documents the lessons learned and updates incident procedures. This action primarily supports which principle? A. Due diligence. B. Continuous improvement. C. Compliance enforcement. D. Disaster recovery. The correct answer is B. Continuous improvement. Post-incident learning exemplifies the plan, do, check, act model. Continuous improvement ensures that security evolves based on real-world lessons, exactly what ISC squared expects you to articulate. Okay, now let's talk about how these questions reflect real CISP thinking. Each one is designed to test judgment and layered reasoning, not just memorization. Now, will most of the questions in the exam be this simplistic? No, but the concepts still apply. The exam often focuses on identifying the best next step or the underlying principle being applied. That is one of CISP's favorite tricks. And here's the challenge. Many answers will sound technically correct, but only one truly aligns with primary intent. The most appropriate action from a managerial, risk-based perspective. That's what separates a good technician from a true CISP. Okay, great work in completing Domain 1. In this section, you learned how core principles of confidentiality, integrity, and availability shape every security decision, and how governance, risk, and compliance connect the business to its mission. You explored how frameworks guide consistency, how awareness strengthens people, and how ethics and accountability keep us grounded as cybersecurity professionals. If you're enjoying this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. It helps more learners grow in this field. I'll see you in Domain 2, Asset Security. We'll touch on how to classify, handle, and protect the data that empowers every organization. Let's keep building your CISSP mindset one domain at a time. See you soon.